Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie. Today we're talking about all of the books that I've started in our year 2022 and have not read to completion. I have not finished these books. I'm going to separate them into genre. So the first ones, actually I'm not separating into genre because I plan on starting today a reading vlog, finishing these 3 books that I started within the last couple months, which spurred the entire idea for this video. And those 3 books are Our Crooked Hearts by Melissa Albert. This is, I guess, YA fantasy. It's about witches. Cult Classic by Sloane Crosley. This is one of those weird genre-bending ones that I have no idea what it is. And The Turn of the Key, which is a thriller. Look forward to those. I'll go into more detail on those books very soon. I think the most that I've started and have not finished is romance. I'm really flopping on my romance this year. I've started all of these, and I think I am not worried about completing them. I think I'm just going to throw them under the rug. So I definitely need your romance recommendations. Things that you've read within the past few years, especially Kindle Unlimited, because I do pay for that. And it would be nice to read some books I really like from it. Let me know some recommendations for romance books down below. Okay, I started Tris Six Venom by Penelope Douglas, I think last month. I probably only got 50 pages in. So this is about 2 girls. It's the sapphic YA contemporary romance. A girl named Clay and a girl named Olivia. One of them's from the wrong side of the tracks, and the other is like this popular girl. I think it's a bully romance, which sometimes is fun, but most of the time irks me. However, I've read Penelope Douglas's Punk 57 and I really enjoyed it, despite them being actual assholes to each other. The only problem I have with this book is I really need to be in a kind of accepting of bullshit, because I feel like especially in the genre of romance, there's a lot of binary thinking, like she's the girl from the wrong side of the tracks, no way could I ever be with her, or like, I don't know, there's no nuance in the character's mind. However, I feel like romance readers are some of the most accepting of characters, so I always find that really interesting. Then The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. I think this author is coming out with a 2nd book next month, so I really do want to finish this one. I got to page 115. This is an office romance, also fake dating. I don't enjoy fake dating. I've DNF'd this or set it aside twice, but I feel like I really want to finish it. I don't really like how this is written, but I feel like the romance itself could be something that I really like. So therefore, I really do want to finish it. So in this one, our main character has a wedding in Spain. I think it's her sister's wedding, and she told all of her family and her ex-boyfriend that she has this wonderful boyfriend. But then it comes time to the wedding and she needs a date. So her office nemesis offers to go with her, and I'm guessing they do the hanky-panky. Then I started 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I started this last month. Last month, it was really just a slump of a month. I started so many books and never finished them. I got to page, I only got to page like 20. I thought I got much further into this. This is about 2 authors. They had a little love affair for 7 days, I think 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And they come together at some conference. I didn't get to that part yet. Obviously, it was on page like 20. Somehow they end up together again, I think on a writing retreat, and they have 7 more days of fire. I think this is going to have a lot to say about genre, how some genres are kind of looked down upon. I'm excited for that conversation, but also I didn't realize that our main character has chronic illness, so that's definitely something that I wasn't expecting that I'm very interested in reading. Then I started Fool Me Once by Ashley Winstead. This is the author of In My Hands I Hold a Knife, which I haven't read yet. This is her first romance book, and I got to page 50. So this is a second chance romance, and I think an office romance as well. So this, our main character, she thought that her ex-boyfriend cheated on her. Turns out he didn't, and then she cheated on him, and now in the present, they have to work together, and I'm guessing they fall back in love. I just don't think I'm going to enjoy this as much, just because there was obviously a lack of communication back in the day with these characters, and that's a really frustrating trope. I know a lot of people share that opinion. And so if there was miscommunication in the past, I'm guessing there's going to be miscommunication in the present. We shall see. And then The Roughest Draft by Austin Siegmund-Broca and Emily Wibberley. I've heard so many good things about this. Actually, I've heard mixed reviews, but from people I trust, I've heard good things. This is also a second chance romance about two authors. I think I got to page 36 and I really enjoyed it. I actually listened to the audiobook on my library and then I ended up purchasing the book because I liked it so much, and then I just never picked it up again. So in this book, our main characters wrote a book together and it was just, everyone loved it. They haven't talked since then. And she does not want to do anything in the public eye ever again. And he has been selling books, but everyone is always comparing it to the book that they wrote together. So his agency or his publisher agent, I don't know how that works, they will not let him publish another book until he finishes one with this girl. They have a contract from a million years ago. And so I think they go down to some town in Florida and they crank one out. You know what I mean. Okay, then I guess literary fiction or just general fiction. I started Young Mungo by Douglas Stewart. Just love this cover. This is also the other cover. I think it's the European cover, or at least the non-American cover. I only got about 28 pages in, but I ended up buying Douglas Stewart's first book that won the Book I'm In prize, and I wanted to read it before I read this. So maybe I'll do this in a combo video. However, I think they're both going to be gut-wrenchingly sad, and I don't know if I am prepared for that, especially back to back. So we will see about this one. Young Mungo is about a young boy named Young Mungo. What? No, his name's Mungo. Mungo falls in love with a boy named James. They live in Glasgow and their family are very traditionalist, and I think they have like separate religions that, you know, it's not just because they're young queer boys, they are religiously not supposed to be together. I don't know, it's this forbidden love story, but however, in the description it says that several months later, Mungo's mother sends him on a fishing trip to a loch in western Scotland with two strange men whose drunken banter belies murky past. He will need to summon all his inner strength and courage to try to get back to a place of safety. So it's very stress-inducing just even reading this flap, and I'm not ready. Then I started Memorial by Brian Washington. This was another library listen that I liked so much that I bought the book. I think I got to page 20 yet again, and this is about a pair of boyfriends, Benson and Mike. Mike invites his mother to stay with them, and as far as Benson knows, she only speaks Japanese. And then Mike dips and goes and visits his father out of the country. And so I think it's dual perspective, but I only read from Benson's point of view, who was very funny. But I think Benson and Mike's mom, they are going to grow a relationship between each other, and it sounds just like it's going to be wholesome. And I don't know if Mike and Benson are going to last, because it sounded from the beginning of the book that they had some communication issues. But I feel like it's going to be heartwarming and potentially sad, but also funny. Then I have a thriller. I started The Maid by Nita Prose. I feel like everyone was reading this for a minute. I'm using one of my husband's Magic the Gathering cards. He might be kind of pissed about that, but I got to page 45. And what I read of this, I really liked it. I know people have been kind of giving it a 3-star, but I'm hoping to get at least a 4-star out of this. It's about a maid named Molly, and she finds a dead body in the hotel she works at. And she sounds like she's neurodivergent, but I don't think the author ever makes that very clear. So Molly, she really loves her job, but she is very different from everyone else. And so she doesn't respond how people would expect. And so she's starting to look suspicious just because she's different. And the reason I stopped reading it wasn't just because I lost interest or because I was in a slump. It was because I was getting so frustrated because I could see how people were going to start taking advantage of her, or find out in hindsight that people have been taking advantage of her. And I get so pissed off in those situations that I was like, I cannot. However, from people's reviews that I've read, this doesn't get too stressful, or at least like, I think it's a somewhat happy ending, despite there being a dead body. For classics, this is a classic horror, Frankenstein. I can never say that right because I watched this movie.
Are there any questions before we proceed?
I have one question, Dr. Frankenstein.
That's Frankenstein.
I beg your pardon?
My name. It's pronounced Frankenstein.
I got 2 different covers of this. First, I got this one from Amazon. When I went and ordered Frankenstein from Amazon, every single time I refreshed the page, it was a different cover. So I just clicked purchase and I got this beautiful cover. However, the entirety of it is in all caps, which I just can't do it. I can't do it. I thought I got the original publication. It says the 1818 edition, but I don't think it's the original one. I think it's like the second edited one. And I know there are many differences in it. I looked them up online. And so I feel like I wanted to get one of each. So I ordered this one after thinking it was a different edition. It's not. But this one, it is also beautiful. There is a mixture of capitalization and non-capitalized letters. This is a book that I feel like I should have read in high school, but it was just never one that was assigned to me. However, I've always wanted to watch this movie about Mary Shelley writing the book, and I really want to read this book, which is sort of about Frankenstein, or like there's a podcast about Frankenstein. It has something to do with Frankenstein. Plus, there are so many books that I've been reading about, what are they called? It's this word, like Bunny and The Bone Orchard. So I feel like this could enrich just my reading in general. Let me know if you have more information about the different editions and which one I should read, if I should go ahead with this 1818 version or try to get something else. Okay, going on in the, I guess, science fiction horror is Manhunt by Gretchen Falcon Martin. I've seen people love this and I've seen people absolutely hate it. And it's weird because the things that people hate, I've also been reading the opposite of why people loved it. So this is a post-apocalyptic or apocalyptic story about trans young people who are harvesting these organs, if you know what I mean, from the man. I think in this apocalyptic world, the men or the people who are producing testosterone or enough testosterone, they turn into some sort of zombie. And so then there's the women who are hunting them down and trying to kill them. But then obviously when someone is trans, they have testosterone, but they're taking hormones. So they are at risk of being murdered by these women who are like TERFs. I've heard this is really gruesome and very, very violent, and also very sexual and sexually violent. So I feel like I need to be in the mood to read this, but from the first chapter I read, I got to page like 15 or something. I thought it was really intriguing and I thought it was written really viscerally. Is that the right word? It was very, very, I don't know, it was good. The way it was written was wonderful. Then I have Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. I cannot wait to finish this. I read the first chapter of it, or at least the first stanza, which was only 11 pages, and I knew I was going to love this. This is a 5-star prediction, and why then have I not picked it up? Can't tell you. This is about like an AI named Clara, and she's in this toy store, I guess just a store of other AIs, and she's waiting to be purchased for a child, to be like a child's playmate. At least I'm guessing that's the purpose. And Clara, I feel like she's gonna be a character favorite. She sounds so wholesome and like she's just curious about the world, but also like she's a good little person. And I just don't want anything bad to happen to her. Okay, and finally we have some fantasy books. First of all, I started Throne of Glass. I think I got like 60% through that first book. I DNF'd it and then proceeded to purchase the entire box set. So that was definitely a mood. Because of that, I don't know when I will read Throne of Glass. I obviously will be reading it because there's no way I spent this much money and will not be reading this book. However, I don't know if I want to do one entire vlog over a span of time reading each book. I think that would be kind of fun. Or maybe make it a vlog series, which would allow me to probably get started and not procrastinate even more. Also, some people have said to start with Assassin's Blade because it is the prequel. However, I am so weirdly weird, I guess, because I want to do it how it was published, like the by publication date, just because although people say that book is amazing and it gets you really pumped to read the rest of it, I feel like I want to experience it as if it was being published in real time. This series, at least the first one, was about a young woman. I think her name was Serena. It's been a while, okay? I'm sorry. She was in prison for being a badass assassin, and she was released from prison under the king's order so that she could compete to be the king's guard or something like that. And so I forget how many people are in this competition. It's like 14 people. But by the time I DNF'd it, there were several people in the competition who were murdered. And in the background, there's this weird love triangle thing that part really irked me. I actually really liked the competition aspect of it. I am kind of interested where this series goes. It must actually just go nuts. And I know I've loved Sarah J. Maas's books, so I need to just give this my all. I need to commit. I need to trust in the Maas. Speaking of Sarah J. Maas, this baby. I read The House of Earth and Blood, the first in this Crescent City series. I really, really, really enjoyed it, much more than I thought I would. I liked how slow-paced it was. Although the book was really long, it felt like there was a lot of shit in it, and the build, I felt really immersed in that world, and I really enjoyed it. This one, I got to page 148, and I just wanted to start reading something else, and I put this on the back burner. I didn't dislike it at this point. I know a lot of people have liked this less than the first one, and they say it's too long and it's kind of boring, except the end, which Sarah J. Maas's endings are usually like amazing. And I could kind of see how it wouldn't be as compelling as the first one, because in the first one, our main character, Bryce, is dealing with trauma and trying to heal from it. And I feel like, weirdly enough, that was the aspect that I really connected to, and that's from which everything else built on. So because that was almost dealt with in the first book, I don't know what the heart of this is going to be. Does that make sense? However, some people really liked it, so I'm definitely going to be reading it because I know the series will be continuing, and I'm a completionist. Clearly, I've read 20 pages of 100 books and have not finished them. Then I have Seanan McGuire's Middle Game. I only got to page like 40 or 30. I didn't mark it. But I really enjoyed it. It was very intriguing. I love this cover. The only thing that I'm scared of now is that I've read a couple Seanan McGuire's books in the Wayward Children series, and I gave one of them a 4-star and then 2 of them 2 stars. The differences between those were the style of book, the type of book, whether it was past and present tense. So I'm very curious, but also nervous to read this. Most people really enjoy this book. I really don't know much of this to tell you about. I know it's about a pair of twins named Roger and Dodger, and I think there's some sort of game or competition, and I think it's fantasy. And then I have Book of Night by Holly Black. I was so excited to get this, and look at this cover. I got to page 43, and I was actually really, really enjoying it despite a lot of mixed reviews, let's say. Actually, I think a lot of them were bad reviews, but I was really enjoying it. I felt like they were really building our main character and her family history, her relationship with her sister, and I thought it was pretty well written. So I'm interested to see how this goes. It's an urban fantasy about these sort of shadow wielders or something like that. I forget the exact terms, but these people can manipulate shadows to manipulate the people in the real world, something like that. So I was also interested in the world building of like, how does this magic work? How does this world work? Oh, and then actually another literary fiction I forgot to mention earlier was Night Shift. I got only 10% into this. However, I think I'm really gonna like it, and I think I want to purchase the physical copy because I'm extra, I know. But this is about a girl who becomes obsessed with this other girl she's working with. And I think it might get a little sci-fi, or maybe just gritty and horrific. It might be one of those like feverish psychological things where is this fantasy, is this psychological? I don't know. I might be making all of that up because I only got 10% in. So let me see how many books that is. It's like 20, 21 books, including the ones I will be reading this week. Wow. I want to finish these before the end of the year. And Yeah, and hopefully they don't end up like a few of these books that I've had on my shelves for a decade. If you've read any of these and you want to hype me up, please let me know which ones I should categorize, or no, please let me know which ones I should prioritize. That's the word I'm looking for. Also, if you have recommendations in romance, that's what I really want. It could be fantasy romance as well. And any preferences you might have to the Frankenstein editions, or any other recommendations, honestly, because I can always use some more books, clearly. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.